There
Hi,
we go.
it's really good for you all to see me. I can't see all of you, but welcome. And as my introductions said, I have a lot of experience in yoga, but I also really love to use yoga as a tool to help me stay grounded, especially in times of distress or transition. And I definitely think right now is a major time of transition for many of us. So that being said, I want to kind of theme the class, and I'm going to just pull my chair up for a moment. We will get started in just a moment, but I want to kind of bring to your attention two ideas that I think are helpful for me during this time and may also be helpful for you. So the terms awareness and agency, I've been thinking about a lot during this time that I've been at home. And I have some definitions of both awareness and agency, and I'm going to go grab my paper. Thank you for your patience. I haven't done a lot of online classes, so I appreciate you tuning in and giving me the opportunity to practice. Okay, so I want to define awareness as the knowledge or perception of a situation or fact. Agency can be defined as an action or intervention, especially such to produce a particular effect. For me, yoga has been a tool to build mind-body awareness, and also it's been a space for me to create agency, to care for both my mind and my body in a way that's supportive for me. And that really means that I've developed the ability to tune in and check on my mental well-being, my physical well-being, and then really give myself permission to do the things that are most supportive of me in any given moment, which can definitely shift from day to day and sometimes honestly from hour to hour. So my invitation for you tonight is to also give yourself permission to become aware of how you're feeling in this moment, any bodily sensations that might come up, and then really just give yourself the space to explore what you need. That being said, if a pose doesn't work for you, don't feel like you have to do it, and really give yourself this time together the next approximately an hour and really explore what poses feel most comforting to you. And so to help us with that concept of awareness, I find it helpful to start with my breath. And I will also give you the invitation of doing that as well. If that doesn't work for you, feel free to just hang out and we'll start moving our body soon. But if you want to join me, go ahead and find a comfortable seat if you haven't. It can be on a chair, it can be on a mat, or even standing up. And start to become aware of the quality of your breath. And by this, I mean maybe where your breath is originating from. You might be breathing in from the center of your chest, or even maybe a little deeper from the bottom of your belly. This is not an invitation to change your breath in any way, but rather just to bring some space, some awareness, some knowledge to how your breath is right now. You might also be breathing fast. Perhaps you just finished doing an errand or moving your body in some other type of way. Or you might be breathing slow and controlled. And again, neither one of those is good or bad. It's just a place to start. So continue breathing in and out. You might even notice the breath and how it feels as it moves through your nose or your mouth and then out. I also like to invite participants at the beginning of class, if they would like to make an intention for the time that we have together, you're more than welcome to do that now. So there might be something that you are hoping to welcome in, or perhaps something that you would like to be able to release. You can say that intention inside your head, quietly to yourself, or perhaps you're practicing with someone else and you'd like to say it to them. Continue breathing in and out. And if you happen to have closed your eyes, go ahead and open them. Before we get started on our physical postures, I want to review some of the props that, while not necessary, can be comforting during yoga. I brought with me a blanket, which can help elevate my hips or provide some warmth. I have a belt, which just allows me maybe to help grab positions or move into positions that I might not be able to. And I also have a pillow, which again can provide me some cushion or elevate my hips. These aren't necessary, but you're welcome to grab them. Okay, we're going to start. If you have a mat, you can sit on your mat. You can sit crisscrossed with your legs or in any pose that's comforting for you. If you're in your chair, that's great as well. Start by taking your right hand and place it outside your right hip. You might even grab your chair if you're in one. Take your left hand and stretch your left hand up and gently over to the right. Take a deep inhale. And as you exhale, switch sides. Bring your left hand down and bring your right hand up. Again, stretching up and over to the left. And move your right hand back down, left hand up. Breathe in. And on your next exhale, again, switch sides one last time. Right hand comes up, left hand comes down. And then you can allow your hands to fall wherever they're comfortable. And start to bring your chest, your belly more towards your legs. Widen your chest and look up. And then you're going to round your back, draw your belly button towards your spine and look down. You can move back and forth like that at your own pace. Keep moving. I'm just going to hop into the chair and demonstrate what it might look like if you're sitting. Again, inhaling your chest forward, looking up. Exhaling, rounding your back and looking down. If you'd like to pair this with your breath, you can, inhaling and exhaling as I mentioned. But if that causes any anxiety, again, don't feel pressured to do that. The next time you round your back, come back to a more neutral spine, whatever that is for you. Take your shoulders and move them up towards your ears. Move them back behind you and set them down. Do that a few times. You can bring your shoulders up. And if you want to pair this with your breath, you might exhale your shoulders down. We're kind of making a little half moon with our shoulders. Bringing them up, moving them back. The next time your shoulders come down, round them up, and then once they're close to your ears, drop them straight down. And do that a few times. And then allow your shoulders to rest. Take your chin towards the center of your chest and roll your right ear over your right shoulder. And then roll your chin back to the center of your chest, left ear over left shoulder. You can keep moving back and forth like this at your own pace. And if you'd like to make a full circle, you can allow your head to gently rock back. Look up at the ceiling and come all the way around. The next time your right ear comes over your right shoulder, let it hang out there for a second. Feel the sensation, bring some awareness to how your neck feels. If this is too much, you can just keep making the shoulder or the neck rolls that we were doing. But if you want to extend this pose, you can take your left hand and stretch it out a little bit. From here, I also like to move my left hand in front of my body and behind it. And again, bring some awareness to the shifts and the sensations of your body. Then take your left hand, place it back on your left thigh, and bring your chin slowly back to the center of your chest. Roll your left ear over your left shoulder and let it hang there for a moment. Bring some awareness to how the right side of your neck feels. Perhaps you stay here, perhaps you back off, or you can even take your right hand, stretch it past your right hip, and then explore by moving it in front of your body or behind your body. Slowly bring your right hand back to your right thigh and gently guide your chin back to the center of your chest and pick your head up. Next, we're going to move into downward facing dog. So I'm going to show you on the mat, but then I'll also show you on the chair. So if anybody wants to wait and take the chair modification, I'll do that in a moment. So for downward facing dog, from your mat, start on hands and knees, and then walk your hands slightly in front of where they are. Curl your toes under, and with your knees still a little bent, start to move your hips back and bring your head kind of in between your biceps. Now you can hang out here, you can bend one knee and straighten the opposite leg, and walk back and forth. If that's too much pressure on your wrists, you can also come onto forearm down dog. And if you're using your chair, I'm going to turn my chair, you don't need to turn yours. You can rest your hands on the back of your chair and move your feet a few feet behind the chair and stretch your back, moving your head also in between your arms. Even here, you can bend one knee and then bend the opposite knee, kind of walk back and forth. If you're at your chair, slowly start to walk your feet back forward. And if you're in down dog on the mat, bring your knees back down to the mat. And then slowly stand up. I like to roll my back up one vertebrae at a time before coming to standing. Again, many of us may have a chair. You can put one hand on the chair if you need to steady yourself. Take your arms and stretch them up towards the ceiling. If you have the mobility, you can take your right hand and grab your left wrist and then stretch your left wrist up and over to the right as you move your hips to the left. Come back to center and switch your hands. Take your left hand and grab your right wrist. Move your hips to the right and your arms to the left. If you're in your chair, you can do this from here, simply moving left or right. We're stretching the sides of our body. Wherever you are, come back to center and release your hands by your side. Now, if you're standing, we're going to move into chair pose to activate our glutes and our thighs. If you're sitting down, you can continue to be seated. You can continue sitting, but try and tone your glutes, tone your low belly. So if you're standing, start to bend your knees, sit back into your hips, and lengthen your arms if you can. This is too intense, you can keep your hands by your side, and how far you bend your knees is up to you. Take a deep breath in, And as you exhale, stand back up. Then move to the back of your mat if you're not there already. And take one foot, maybe start with your right foot, and start to walk it towards the front of the mat. And bend your knees slightly. If this is uncomfortable, you can always lower your back knee to the ground. And you can also use the chair, and I'm going to switch sides to model. You can use your chair. Start by sitting. Bring your left knee out, and then, or one knee out, and then one leg back. We're strengthening our legs a little bit before we stretch them. So hopefully you have one knee bent, one leg back. You can stay here, or if you're looking for a challenge, you can lift your arms. If your arms are up, slowly lower your arms. And if you're on your mat, take your hands and slowly bring them inside of your right foot. Lower your left knee to the ground and bring your right knee back. And then bring some awareness to your abdomen and your low belly. Breathe in and try and expand your belly and make it big. And then breathe out and tone your belly button towards your spine to engage your abdomen. Press your hands into the ground if you're on your mat. And if you're in your chair, perhaps press your feet into the ground if they are touching. Inhale, and as you exhale, slowly curl your toes under, move your hips back, coming into downward dog. You can bend one knee and straighten the opposite leg, and then bend that knee and straighten the opposite leg, and walk back and forth. Then, everybody keep your knees slightly bent and start to walk your hands close to your feet. If this is too much pressure in your head, give yourself permission to come up sooner to standing. But for some of us, it may feel nice to allow our head to hang down. If you are in a chair right now, you can also allow your torso to hang down. Perhaps look between your feet. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, slowly stand up. Lifting your upper body upright. We're going to come back to the side stretches we did. So, lift your arms up. Take your right hand and grab your left wrist. Move your hips to the left and move your arms to the right. Come back to center and switch your grip. Take your left hand and grab your right wrist. Move your hips to the right, move your arms to the left. Slowly come back to center. Bring your hands by your side and start to sit back into your hips. You can bring your hands together at the center of your chest. And if you're looking for a challenge, you can lift your arms. If you are sitting down, focus on pressing your feet into the ground if they're touching the ground. Tone your glutes, tone your abdomen. Continue to breathe in and out. Slowly release your hands by your side. And if you're standing, stand all the way up. Come to the back of your mat. And see if you can remember which leg you brought forward first. For those of us standing, I told you to bring your right foot forward. So we're going to do the left foot now. So walk your left foot a few steps forward until you can bend your left knee. Your right foot can stay back, or you can bring your right knee to the ground for more support. Tone your abdomen, tone your glutes. And if you're sitting down, remember, you can shift to one side of your chair and bring your other leg back. Whenever we have one of our knees straightened, we're toning our quads or the front of our legs and our hamstrings and the back of our legs. So we're strengthening our body right now. Stay here Or if you want a challenge, you can lift your arms. Continue to breathe. From here, lower your arms, and if you're on your mat, bring your hands slowly on the floor inside of your left foot. Then slowly bring your right knee down and bring your left knee back. Again, bring some awareness to your belly. Inhale and fill your belly like a balloon. And then as you exhale, squeeze your belly button towards your spine to engage your abdomen. Stay here, or if you want more of a challenge, maybe you lift one knee and then the other and come into a plank pose or top of a push-up. In your chair, you can stay where you are, I'm just demonstrating a modification. In your chair, you can also do this by having your hands on the chair, perhaps leaning forward, and again, engaging your abdomen. Slowly lower your knees, and if you're on your mat, come all the way down to the ground. Bring your arms along your sides, and even here, try and engage your abdomen. Then maybe lift your legs, maybe lift your arms and look forward. Tone your abdomen so that you don't compress your low back. Staying where you are, but if you're in a chair, you can puff up your chest, squeeze your shoulders on your back, and get a back bend in the top part of your back. Then, slowly to come out, roll your shoulders forward, and if you're on your mat, slowly bring your hands back down, place them flat on the floor, press into your hands, and move back to hands and knees. From there, we're going to do the spinal flexion that we did before at the beginning of class. We're going to allow our belly to move down, look up, and then as you exhale, draw your belly button towards your spine, round your back, and look down. Continue moving like this in cat-cow at your own pace. And then, when you're ready, curl your toes under and start to move your hips back, coming into downward facing dog. You can bend one knee and straighten the opposite leg, and then bend the opposite knee and straighten the opposite leg and walk back and forth. And if you are in your chair, we did a down dog modification at the beginning, where we can have our hands on the back of our chair, and kind of move our head between our arms, and again, kind of move back and forth. And if you'd like to just really stay seated, you can also kind of do the same thing by marching in place. If you're in your mat, keep your knees a little bent and start to walk your hands back to meet your feet. You can allow your upper body to hang down over your lower body. I like to keep my knees bent to give space to my low back. If it's too much pressure in your head, give yourself the agency to come up sooner. And then slowly, with your knees still bent, engage your abdomen and roll up to standing. Once again, stretch your arms up to the ceiling. Take your right hand and grab your left wrist. Move your hips to the left and your torso to the right. Come back to center. Take your left hand and grab your right wrist. Move your hips to the right and your torso to your left. And bring your hands and torso, upper body back to center. And then bring your hands together at the center of your chest. Slowly bend your knees and sit back into your hips. Tone your glutes, tone your abdomen. Even if you're sitting down, focus on engaging those muscles as much as you can. And if anyone would like to challenge themselves, you can also lift your arms. hands and stand all the way up. Come to the back of your mat if you're not there already. And take one foot, maybe your right foot to start, and start to walk it up to the front of your mat. Then keep your left foot back behind you, but point your left toes a little out to the left. You can also widen your legs apart to give, again, your back more space. And if you are wanting to take a chair modification, again, I just rest my thigh on my chair. From there, if you can, stretch your arms out parallel to the floor. Tone your glutes, tone your abdomen. If you're looking for a challenge, you can always sit a little lower. At any point, if you want to come out of this pose and take a break, obviously that is, you are in your space and you are more than welcome to. If you can hold this position, bend your right elbow, take your right elbow to the top of your right thigh, and stretch your left hand up towards the ceiling. Slowly take your left hand, place it on your left hip with your abdomen engaged. Sit your upper body upright, and then stretch your right hand up and allow your left hand to stretch back behind you. You can stay where you are. I'm just going to demonstrate, again, if I was using my chair as a prop, I can rest my right thigh on my chair and still stretch my right arm back. And then slowly lower your right hand back to your right thigh. Curl your left toes up. We're coming back to with our hands, placing them on the floor inside of our right foot. Then lower your left knee to the ground and bring your right foot back behind you. Inhale, fill your belly like a balloon. And exhale, engage your abdomen. You can stay here and just practice pressing your hands into the ground, or you can maybe bring one foot back and the other foot back and come to plank or top of a push-up. Slowly lower your knees to the ground. And if you're on your mat, come all the way down to the ground. You can bring your arms back behind you. Lift your head up, and even here, try and tone your abdomen. Maybe lift your legs, maybe lift your arms. Continue breathing in and out. And if you're sitting, focus on puffing up your chest, squeezing your shoulders on your back, and looking up. And then slowly lower your knees. If you're on your mat, lower all the way down. And this time, if you're on your mat and it feels good, you can take your hands and make a pillow at the top of your mat and allow your forehead or one side of your face to rest. If you're sitting down, allow your hands to find perhaps your thighs or somewhere else supportive. This might be a good place for a pillow as well. You can allow the pillow to elevate your hips. You can also take the pillow if you have found that you might need more cushion. We're almost halfway through with practice, and I like to use this time as a checkpoint for all of us to take a moment and bring some awareness to any bodily sensations we might be feeling and any sensations in our mind. So take a moment. If you don't know what to do, I invite you to come back to your breath. Notice how your breath may have shifted. I myself am breathing a little faster. And also take a moment and think about what poses felt good for you that we've done so far, and what poses perhaps were not as supportive. And this is not a moment of judgment, but rather building the awareness so we can later take agency and revisit poses that are supportive. Take a deep breath in and breathe out. Wherever you are in the room and space, start to come back. If you've closed your eyes, perhaps open them. And if you're on your mat, perhaps you are still laying down, take your hands and place them on the floor, press into your mat, and press back to hands and knees. And then come back to cat-cow. Allow your belly to hang, widen your chest, look up, round your back, look down. If you're sitting in another position, you can also do these spinal flexes. If perhaps you are sitting on your thighs or on your chair, inhaling your belly button forward, widening your chest, looking up, rounding your back, looking down. Then come back to a more neutral spine, whatever that is for you. Curl your toes under and start to move your hips back, moving your head between your hands. Again, bend one knee, straighten the opposite leg, and walk back and forth. Continue in down dog. I'm just going to show again another possible modification. And then from wherever you are, keep your knees a little bit bent and start to walk your feet towards your hands and come up to standing. Once you're standing, stretch your hands up towards the ceiling. Take your right hand and grab your left wrist. Move your hips to the left and your hands to the right. Come back to center. Take your left hand and grab your right wrist. Move your hips to the right and your hands to the left. Slowly come back to center and bring your hands together at the center of your chest. Press into your feet, sit back into your hips, tone your belly, tone your glutes. If you want a challenge, you can lift your arms. And if you want more support, perhaps come back to the seat if you have one available. Press into your feet, stand up, and release your hands by your side. We're coming back to the position we were in before we brought some awareness and kind of rested for a moment. And I told you to move your right foot for the first pose. So most likely you should be bringing your left foot forward, but whatever foot that you feel like needs to come next, you can go ahead and bring it to the front of your mat. And then allow your right foot to come down and tilt your right toes out. Again, if you need some support from your chair, you can rest your thigh on your chair. Then take a moment and tone your glutes, your abdomen, and maybe stretch your hands out in front of you. If you can hold this position, do so. Bend your elbow and place your left elbow on your left thigh. Bring your hand and stretch it towards the ceiling. Again, squeezing your lower body, both legs, toning them. Slowly bring your right hand to your right thigh. Bring your left hand to your left thigh and bring your torso upright. Stretch your left arm up towards the ceiling and take your right hand and stretch it down your right thigh. Again, you can stay where you are, just demonstrating what that might look like if you choose to use a chair. Slowly lower your left elbow and then take both hands and guide them onto the floor inside your left foot. Flip your right toes up and then step your left knee back and then your right knee down. Inhale, let your belly grow big. Exhale, engage your abdomen, tone your belly button towards your spine. Stay here, or maybe you step one foot back and then the other for the top of a push-up or plank. Continue breathing if you can. Slowly lower your knees, and if you're on your mat, slowly bring yourself down onto your belly. Don't forget, you can use a pillow to elevate your hips if that feels better. Bring your arms along your sides, and even here, engage your abdomen. Then bring your shoulders on your back to lift your chest. Maybe lift your legs, maybe lift your arms. Try and stretch yourself as if somebody's pulling your legs and your shoulders in opposite directions. If you're sitting in your chair, focus on squeezing your shoulders together and puffing up your chest. Slowly lower your legs. Place your hands flat on the mat. Press yourself back to hands and knees. Allow your belly to hang. Widen your chest, look up. Round your back, look down. You can move back and forth like that. At your own pace. And if this is not a supportive position or this causes any discomfort, I encourage you to use your agency and find a position that is more supportive. Find a neutral spine, and then walk your hands slightly in front of you, curl your toes, and move your hips back, coming into downward dog. Walk your feet back and forth, and then find some stillness in your legs, but keep your knees slightly bent, and walk your hands back to meet your feet. You can allow your torso to hang over your legs. I like to keep my knees a little bit bent here to provide some space. And if you're sitting down, you can still allow your upper body to come closer to your thighs if it feels good for you. Then with your knees slightly bent still, slowly roll yourself up to standing. Take a deep breath in and breathe out. We're gonna do some shoulder openers. So take your hands and place them on your shoulders. You can remain standing. For me, I find it supportive to take a seat right now, but again, use your agency and choose the best position for you. So we have our elbows bent, our hands are on our shoulders. Start to move your shoulders and your elbows towards each other at the center of your chest, making large circles. When your elbows come together, then move your elbows back the opposite direction. And then slowly release your hands to your thighs for a moment, and then bring your hands and weave your fingers together. With your palms touching each other, you can make some circles with your wrists, which can feel nice, especially if perhaps you've had some wrist pain or stiffness. And then keep your hands together. You may have done this as perhaps a child. Allow your arms to kind of make waves. Bringing one elbow up and then followed by the other elbow as you lower and lift. And then finally release your hands back down to your thighs. We're going to move into a few balancing poses. So if at any point, if you're familiar with yoga, I'm not sure who's on the call, but if you are familiar with these poses, feel free to move faster. But if you're not familiar, I'll also walk you through them. Our first balancing pose is going to be eagle. So if you know it, feel free to go into it. If not, I'll walk you through it. Some stages for eagle. First, bring your arms out in front of you. This can be done seated or standing. Take your right hand, move it over your right arm, move it over your left arm. Start by hugging yourself. This might be enough of a shoulder opener for you and you can stay here. If not, you might bring the back of your hands to meet. maybe even your palms. Now you can stay here and just focus on your shoulders, or if you'd like to bring your lower legs into the pose as well, press into your right foot and take your left leg over your right. You can keep your left toes on the mat and just balance, or if you really want to challenge yourself, you can always sit back and lift your left toes off the mat. So there's many stages. If you're sitting, you can bring your left shin across your thigh, or pardon me, your left calf across your left calf across your right shin, or even maybe cross your knees. Focus wherever you are on squeezing your legs together, squeezing your arms, your upper or lower arms towards each other. Slowly release your hands. Stand up if you haven't and place both feet on the mat. March back and forth in place. And then we'll come to eagle other side. Stretch your arms parallel to the floor. Bring your right arm over your left. Start by hugging your shoulders. Maybe the back of your hands meet. Maybe your palms meet. Then if you want to bring your legs into it, press into your left foot. Bring your right leg over your left. Remember, you can stay here, or if you want to challenge yourself, you can squeeze your legs together and maybe balance on one foot. Continue to breathe. Press into your left foot. Stand up if you haven't. Bring your arms out. And now let's make some wide arm circles. Stretch your hands up towards the ceiling and then allow them to come down. And do that a few times. Again, if you're seated, you can also stretch your arms up, lower them down, up, and finally let them rest. We have one more balancing pose, and before we do that, I want to tell you a little trick I use to help me balance. I try and find a point to look at that is not moving. So it might not be me. After I get you into the next pose, perhaps find a point to look at that's stationary, like the floor or the wall in front of you. So we're moving into tree. If you are familiar with tree, feel free to move faster than me. If not, I'll walk you through it. Again, we have some stages. Press into your right foot. Then take your left ankle. You can kickstand it inside of your right calf. You can place your left foot flat inside your right calf. Some of us may even be able to grab our left foot and place it above or below our right knee, inside of our right thigh. Any of those places are fine. It's really depending on the sensations that are present in your body. And perhaps I will even take a seat and demonstrate what it might look like if you're seated. Then you can add your arms. Breathe in and out. And remember to find that point to look at that is not moving. Slowly lower your hands. Slowly lower your left foot and march back and forth in place. Then press into your left foot. Take your right foot. You can kickstand it inside of your left leg. You can place your right foot flat inside of your left calf. Again, some of us may even be able to grab our right ankle and place it above or below our left knee. Wherever you are, take a moment and ground yourself and perhaps add your arms. Don't forget to take a look to concentrate on a point that isn't moving, which I think is a great metaphor for life as well as yoga. If things get too chaotic and out of balance, it can be helpful to find some stillness. Slowly lower your hands, slowly lower your foot, and march back and forth in place. Okay, just doing a quick time check. So we have about 10 minutes until 8. And so I think we're going to move into a cool down pose or a few poses to help us cool down our body after we've warmed it up. So go ahead and find a seat. For you, that might be the chair or that might be flat on your mat. If you are on your mat, go ahead and stretch your right leg out in front of you and then your left leg out in front of you. Bend your knees and then start to kind of rock your hips back so you can kind of bring your hips a little forward. Here might be a good place for a strap if you have one. If you have a belt or a towel, you can use that perhaps to go around your feet and allow your back, your lower back to kind of arch in so it's not rounded, and to widen your chest and look up. Take a few breaths in and out. And bring some awareness to the back of your legs or your hamstrings. If you feel enough of a stretch where you are, you can stay here, that's fine. If you'd like more of a stretch, you can slowly at your own pace start to straighten your legs, still bringing your torso forward and trying to keep your chest wide. If sitting on the ground is uncomfortable and you are in a chair, you can straighten your legs out and again find a stretch on the back of your legs. Breathe in, breathe out. And again, come back to the awareness of whatever bodily sensations are happening. If you're on your mat, slowly start to bend your knees and walk your feet back in. Same thing if you're sitting on a chair, bend your knees again. If you're on a mat, we're going to roll back onto our backs if that's supportive for you, but if not, you can continue sitting up and find something that works for you. Okay. From the back of while we're on our backs, bring your right foot, right ankle, to the top of your left thigh near your left knee. Let your right knee fall away from you. Tone your glutes. You can stay here, or if it feels good, you can keep your legs in the same shape and move them towards your chest. If you do that, take your right hand and arm, leave it inside your legs, and interlace your fingers behind your left thigh. You should hopefully feel a stretch on your right glute and your right hip. You can stay where you are. I'm just going to demonstrate a possible modification for some of us who may prefer to sit up. You can bring your right ankle still to the top of your left thigh near your left knee. If you want to intensify from this point, you might even rock your torso down. Continue breathing in and out. And then slowly release your hands, bring your left foot to the ground and your right foot back down. Then take both your knees and allow them, your feet are flat on the floor, about hip width apart, but allow both your knees to fall to the right and then let them fall to the left. You can rock back and forth like that if it feels good. If you're sitting on your chair, perhaps it is also still comforting to move your knees opposite in the same direction but side to side. And then bring your knees back to center. Keep your right foot flat on the floor, but take your left ankle and place it at the top of your right knee. Allow your left knee to fall away from you. You can stay here. Perhaps this is enough of a stretch. Or if you want more, you can keep your legs in the same shape, but lift them off the mat towards your chest. If you do that, take your left arm, weave it between your legs, and interlace your fingers behind your right thigh. And again, if you're seated, you may still be able to bring your left ankle to the top of your right thigh near your right knee, and you can intensify the stretch by bringing your torso down towards your legs. Take some deep breaths here. If you're seated, bring your torso upright and remove your left ankle and place your left foot flat on the floor. If you're on your mat, slowly release your fingers, bring your right foot down, and then bring your left foot down. Then keep your feet about hip width apart and allow both your knees to fall to the left and then to the right, and you can move them back and forth if that feels good. Okay, we've done a lot of forward folding recently in this, the last few poses. So we're gonna balance that out with a pose called bridge pose. If you haven't seen it before, feel free to watch me first. And if you already know it, feel free to go into it. So for bridge pose, keep your feet about hip width apart, flat on the floor. And then you're going to want to keep looking right above you. Try not to move your neck side to side once you're in the pose. Bring your shoulders and walk them one at a time further underneath your back. And then slowly, you can stay here, or slowly you can lift your hips. Engage your glutes to support your low back. And when you're ready, you can come down. We're gonna do that one more time, and I'm also gonna demonstrate a similar sensation you can get while also just sitting in a chair if that's where you are right now. So, feet are flat on the floor, about hip width apart. Your shoulders, bring them on your back to puff up your chest. Even if you're lying down, if you are lying down, your upper back may lift off the mat. If you're in your chair, press your hands into the ground. And then everybody, when you're ready, you can slowly lift your hips. And then you can return your glutes down to the mat. Okay. From there, we're back on our backs. You can allow your knees to fall out to either side, right knee to the right, left knee to the left, and then bring your feet together. This is too much pressure on your hips. You can make fists with your hands and place your fists underneath your glutes. If you're sitting down, I would suggest widening your legs apart. Then slowly, maybe with the help of your hands, start to bring your knees and legs back together. Allow your knees to touch one another, and then walk your right foot to the right and your left foot to the left. Continue breathing in and out. You can stay where you are. I'm going to sit up and walk us through our last pose, which is called Shavasana. It's really a pose where we allow ourselves to rest and to bring some awareness to our body now that we've ended our physical practice. So I think resting is a very personal practice, and it can vary from person to person. Some of us may want to lie flat on our mats, stretch our legs out, and maybe even stretch our arms out. Some of us may want to lie our back flat, but keep our knees bent. Some of us may even want to roll onto our sides or onto our bellies, and all of those positions are perfectly fine. When you found a pose that is most supportive and comforting for you, start to try and allow yourself to just be in your body. I'm going to stop talking in a moment, and I want to give you a few minutes to just rest and appreciate the work that you've done today. Whatever variation of whatever I've said, whatever movements that you've done, just rest and appreciate the way in which you've been in your body today. You're welcome to keep your eyes open or close them. And allow yourself to rest. I'll let you know when it's time to bring yourself back to the space. If you've closed your eyes, you can keep them closed, but start to wiggle your fingers and toes. Perhaps breathe a little deeper. If you're laying down, try and roll to one side and allow yourself to hold yourself for one more moment. And when you're ready, go ahead and bring yourself up to a seat, similar to that you might have started in. You're welcome to take a few moments where you are, maybe open and close your eyes a few times. I'm going to take the next few minutes and lead you all, anybody who is interested, through a grounding exercise that I like to do. If you have a few moments, you can join me. And if you are ready to go about your evening, I hope you have a wonderful evening. So, the grounding exercise or meditation I like to do has to do mostly with the five senses. I am also a special education teacher, and I do this a lot with my students, especially if they are feeling anxious or ungrounded. And I do this with myself a lot. If I need to bring myself back to the present moment, it can be helpful to do that using our sense of hearing, vision, smell, touch, even taste. If perhaps you're eating a snack, you can do this throughout the day. So, sitting in whatever way is comfortable for you, decide if you want to keep your eyes open or closed. And then start to bring awareness to wherever your hands have landed. Perhaps they're touching your fabric, the fabric of your pants. Perhaps they're touching each other. Just bring some awareness there. Perhaps you can even feel the clothing that you're wearing where it touches your skin. And just bring some awareness, some noticing there. Take a deep breath in, feel your belly expand, and then breathe out, feel your belly contract. Next, pay special attention to what you hear. You hear me if you're still with us in our experience right now, but you might hear other things as well. I've heard some birds chirping. I've heard my dog barking. You may have as well. Or perhaps there's people moving in your house. Perhaps someone has a television on. Just bring some awareness to the sounds. Then, if your eyes are open, if they're closed, you don't have to open them, but if they are open, bring some noticing, some knowledge to the colors that surround you. You might see my white t-shirt or your computer screen. Perhaps there's a window nearby. You can gaze outside and see various colors in the sky or whatever's around you at this moment. Next, try and take a deep inhale through your nose. And then exhale. Perhaps there are some smells that come into your consciousness. Perhaps someone is cooking dinner, or perhaps some of us may even have a candle on. Notice the scents or the aromas that surround you. Now, perhaps there is even something that you have eaten today, or perhaps there is no taste right now because obviously we just did yoga and many of us are not eating. But that would be the last sense to kind of tap into. Take a deep inhale. And exhale. If this grounding practice did not work for you, that's fine. I do encourage you to continue to bring awareness to the space that you're in. It's very easy, especially right now, to think and continue to worry about things that may be out of our control. When I think about things that I can control, I often come back to the space around me, what I'm touching, what I'm allowing myself to visualize and to ingest visually, what I'm allowing myself to listen to. I hope this experience helped create some awareness, and I also invite you to come back as we close out to any intention you might have set at the beginning of practice. Perhaps you met that intention simply by being here. Perhaps it's something new for you, or perhaps you very much enjoy yoga and this was a nice opportunity for you to practice something you're familiar with. If you didn't meet that intention you set, give yourself the agency or the permission to continue moving in that direction. Allow yourself some space and really affirm where you are. We'll close out with one last deep inhale and exhale. Thank you all for joining me. If any of you have closed your eyes, you're welcome to slowly open them at your own pace. I've given my contact information to Kristen, and you're welcome to reach out to me if you have any questions or concerns. This was a new experience for me as well. I'm not sure who was on the call, so I hope that you were able to get something out of the experience that we had together. If you are interested in more challenging yoga, feel free to reach out to me, or if you're also interested perhaps in an even slower class and learning about different modifications that may make the experience accessible for you or maybe someone you love who you think might benefit, again, feel free to reach out to me. I also have done a module for yoga specifically for students or children with ADHD and autism. So if that's something you have questions about, feel free to, again, reach out to me. Kristen has my email. I am honestly, I believe I'm still alive, so I think I'm going to leave the studio. And I do thank you all for your patience tonight. This was my first time doing a live yoga streaming, so I hope you all enjoyed it.